What's up guys, Jay Cutton from Fitness Culture. So today we're going to be talking about how to improve your overhead position on your snatch and your overhead squat. So the first thing we're going to cover is just what a good overhead position looks like. Then we'll talk about a drill that can help you kind of fix your overhead position and help you engage your upper back while you're doing the movements. And then we're going to go into a warm-up progression that you can do before you overhead squat or you snatch that'll help you warm up and make sure that you're super stable before you perform these movements. The first thing that we're going to talk about is what a good overhead position looks like. So if you're sitting in your snatch grip, put the bar overhead. One of the most common mistakes that people have is kind of just being relaxed up here and really letting their shoulder internally rotate. And that's just going to cause a ton of instability when you're going down. So what you really want to think about, and the best cue that I've been able to use to help my clients really dial this in, is think about breaking the bar, like if you're going to break it on your leg, behind you when you set up. So really crank into that bar and try to break the bar behind you, just like that. So it's gonna externally rotate you at the shoulder, and that's really gonna engage your scapulas and put you in a really nice, stable position overhead. So you'll break the bar in half, and then from there, you're gonna punch your head through and then just push up a little bit. Really think about pushing your shoulder up to your ear on this, and that's gonna set you up to be in a really good position overhead. All right, so the next thing we're gonna go over is one of my favorite drills that kind of forces you to get into a good position when you do it on the overhead squat. So it's a reactive neuromuscular training drill. We're gonna use band feedback. And with the band feedback, I mean, the only way that you're gonna be able to keep a good position is to really engage your upper back, and really it forces you to keep that good position during the drill. So we've grabbed 2 light bands. What you're gonna do is just loop the light bands together. Once you have the bands put together, what you're gonna do is just toss them over a high rack and then pull the band through right to the knot right in the middle of the band. So now that you have your band set up, you're gonna need a PVC pipe or a broomstick. You could even use a really light barbell on this if you wanted to. What you're gonna do is set up your hands in the band. The further down on your shoulders that you go, below the elbows, it's gonna be a little bit easier because it's not gonna be pulling you forward quite as much. You're gonna step back from the band to get really as much tension as you can handle. But the hardest is gonna be right up to your wrists. From there, you're gonna go from a 90-degree angle from the top of your head, punch it up, and then you're gonna be performing an overhead squat. And the goal is to keep that PVC pipe right in line with your head. So right down your head, right in line with your heels. You're gonna really feel it retracting your scapulas back, punch it up, and then just complete an overhead squat. So doing this before any snatch or overhead squat day is really gonna get your upper back firing and really just dial in that good movement pattern before you get going. All right, the next thing we're gonna talk about is just a little warm-up progression that you can do before you snatch or overhead squat, just to get comfortable overhead. So the first thing that we'll start off with, especially if you're a beginner and you're not comfortable overhead at all, is just gonna be get your snatch grip, and you'll just be doing a behind the neck press just to warm it up. So you'll squeeze your glutes nice and tight, core's tight, and then you're just gonna press all the way through into that good position. Remember, press through, break the bar apart behind you, press up, get that head through, and then back down to the shoulders. The next part of the progressions is gonna be a behind the neck push press. So every time you move up, you can add a little bit of weight on this. So the behind the neck push press, you'll just use your legs a little bit, dip, and then just press through. All right, the next thing we're gonna work on is a snatch balance. So on a snatch balance, you're gonna be able to use your legs a little bit. And for this drill in the warm up, I kind of like just barely use your legs, get it overhead, and then ride the weight down just to get you comfortable with the movement and dropping under the bar. So you're gonna get the bar on your back, nice snatch grip position. Your feet are gonna be in your pulling position, however you would pull for a snatch off the ground, and then you're gonna reset them into your catch position when you catch the bar. So you'll dip just a little bit, pop the bar off, reset your feet, and then ride it down. Reset your feet every time. Dip, transition, ride it down, back up. All right, the next one's gonna be a drop snatch. And this one, you're not gonna use your legs at all. You're just gonna drop under the bar, work your speed under the bar, reset your feet, and it's gonna be a little bit harder to stabilize, and that's why we're doing this one last. So you're gonna get the bar on your back, get in your snatch grip position. You'll start in your pulling stance, and then you're just gonna drop under the bar, punch the bar up, really be active with your upper body, and catch in a squat position. So over here, and stand back up. Reset every time. So when you're doing this progression, I usually do about 10 reps at each one, just increase the weight every time. And then once I get to that drop snatch, I just keep the weight, and then I do about 3 sets of 10 there, just to really dial it in before I get into the movement. And I actually, before I got into CrossFit, I used to just do this warm up really to warm up my shoulders and my lower body every day, to work on my mobility, because the overhead squat really is kind of a great judge of how mobile you are in the bottom position. When I started CrossFit, the first time I ever overhead squatted, I was able to do a significant amount of weight, and I'd never gone heavy before. So it really does work your stability even if you aren't going that heavy, and it's gonna transition nicely to the overhead squat and the snatch. All right guys, I hope those tips help you out on improving your overhead position. So we actually have another video that's all about shoulder mobility, and we kind of cover rolling out things that will definitely help your shoulder position as well. So if your lats are tight, if your serratus is tight, it's gonna be a lot harder to get overhead. So if you wanna check out that video, you can just click the link up here, and then subscribe to our channel. If you like the content, you can click down here. Thank you.